Goodness, on that incredible note, hello again to all our pluggers and welcome back to the continuation of season 2 of the Wellness Plug. We are aware, before I reintroduce and introduce some of our new faces, we are aware we've been away for a couple of months. We've been working really hard on making sure that the rest of the season is not only incredibly inspiring and soothing and inspirational to you, but that we as a crew are feeling inspired, soothed, and serene when we come to the shoot. So we are in a new space and we'll have more details about that coming soon. We are definitely with a new crew in more ways than one, from how we are looking to who is behind the lens. We'd like to say hello to all our beautiful brand new partners, but I'm not riding alone. And the reason I'm taking a little bit longer is because we've got some faces on this couch that we've been holding back in introducing to you. So let me not waste any, listen, she has been many faces because she plays so many roles. Ladies and gentlemen, to our pluggers, welcome to episode 2, which is Finding Peace. I'm Dr. G, as you should know by now. I'm rolling with my philosopher, partner in crime, Mr. Katlego Maboe.
Indeed. Good to see you. Good to see you all again.
And Kat, we are incredibly humbled,
Indeed.
Excited, honored that the voice from within herself is our newest host. Lerato Maleswena is joining the Wellness Plug as our host. We'd love to thank the incredible Linda Majola for our time together. As you take your break, may you energize, may you recharge. We're looking forward to see you again on this couch as soon as possible. Lerato.
Yes.
Welcome
voice from within.
The voice from within has a face.
Listen.
And I am here.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. It's so good to have you with us.
Yeah.
From behind the lens now to
Right?
being in front. Tell me first, what does it feel like to be here right now?
I mean, it's very different. It's a different world.
Yeah.
A little nervous, but it's like having conversations with friends. I'm just trying to imagine it that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
And you've walked with us from a conception point of view of this podcast. What made you say yes to the very intense exposure that being on front of the mic is? What inspired you to join this part of the conversation with us?
Well, I mean, I enjoy the I think from the creative side of things, I enjoy the fact that it gives me an opportunity to just explore creatively and, to bring someone's dream to life, So in any way that I can extend myself, I'm always willing to. So that's the reason why I did it. I was like, well, I mean, we're all team members. Let's do it now. Let's get into it.
Well, this is definitely a family affair. So for those of you who've been riding with us since last year, we'd like to say an official happy 1-year anniversary of the Wellness
Can you
Plug
believe one?
podcast.
That deserves. Come on.
A special thank you to the two people sitting on this couch. For me, one of the biggest things about getting a vision to life is the quality of the people you bring into it. This would not be a reality. The Wellness Plug would not exist without the two of you. You've been behind the scenes as well as in front. But most importantly, it takes one person to believe in what you see for a family to kick off a vision. So I want to publicly thank you as my wellness family for the support you've shown, for seeing where this is going. We've got a beautiful long journey and easy does it. What I have enjoyed about working with the two of you is you really understand what wellness is meant to do for people. And so walking this journey of how we are impacting lives this way has been nothing but a joy. But I've loved not having to also sit down and always talk wellness with doctors. No shade to my people.
No, not at all.
But this has really been really different. And thank you so much for the ride so far.
And I think it's been important to us as well to kind of like find a way of bringing that voice across, the voice of the everyday person, because that's what we are. You know?
Exactly.
We've got the experts
Far
over there,
more,
but then
but
we certainly bring in the voice of just the person who's looking to find that peace of mind in their lives and find strategies that are going to help them to live healthier.
Absolutely.
And live better.
Absolutely. And before I carry on our incredible topic today, the family is a very extensive one. So I'm using the opportunity since I'm doing the intro to thank the entire team. I'd like to give a shout out to Emden Videos. I'd like to give a shout out to Shiraz Reddy, the stylist to the stars. I'd like to give a really, really big shout out to Evan Photography, who's been with us since we started. And of course, saving the best for last, we have a creative direction team here that has not only shown us what young people are capable of doing creatively, but the work ethic that Sokana Agency led by Sive Martini, Sive Ngelwane has done is incredible. We are a family of youngsters and we've pulled off a really incredible wellness vision. But today we're dressed in a serene, tranquil, calming mood and vibe because yay, load shedding.
What?
Yay!
Okay.
I'm not sure where we're going to go with this topic today, Pluggers. It may start to feel like church at some point, just go with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's starting to feel like therapy, go with it.
I've gotten so used to it.
Right?
Yeah.
It's I feel like collectively as a nation, we've all just gotten used to the status quo and we are living day in, day out, just rolling with the punches, which speaks to a certain sense of resilience
Right?
of our character as people, which we'll get into as well as one of
100%.
the necessities to build into your toolkit to develop that peace of mind, if you want to call it that. But yeah, it's been a traumatizing time in all kinds of ways, and we're rolling with the punches. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And as we give the wellness version of rolling with the punches, we wanted to take this conversation to a topic that I think many of us right now are navigating in different spaces, and it's finding peace. I think before we can even get into a topic, we have this beautiful tradition amongst the three of us, and I couldn't imagine what kind of answers we're going to give today because one, we haven't seen each other in a bit. So life has happened in the last 3 months, but I've got to ask, Lerato, how are you?
Wow. I have been thinking about the answer to this this entire week. I'm exhausted.
Wow.
But I'm also content, despite I think the things that are happening in my life, I'm still hanging in there, and that's good enough for me. That's keeping me going. Yeah, so I would say that's where I'm at.
Incredible.
Yeah. So out of 10, I'm a 5.5, but the coffee's kicking in as well, so I might get to 6 at the end of it.
Are you a caffeine lover? Are you a proud
Actually,
caffeine
I'm
lover?
not. Eh?
Okay.
I'm not. I only have caffeine when I really need it.
Are you finding it lately as part of this journey of like exhaustion that you're needing
it's
things
picking
to
up.
keep you going?
I was like, wow, okay, we're drinking coffee now.
We're going to definitely tap into that when it comes to factors that affect our resilience. But if there's one person who's been inspiring my energy levels lately, who is relentlessly feeding us positive energy and getting me through the winter nightmare of load shedding, it's my little brother. I cannot wait to find out how hectic your life has been. But the most important question first, how are you doing?
Yeah. I'm at a place right now where I've been extending myself a little bit more than usual. So coming home feeling a bit more tired than usual, but knowing where that energy went to in a very directed kind of way. Do you know what I mean? It's very particularly placed. And as a result, feeling a lot more satisfied with my overall contribution towards life. What it is that I'm doing every day is feeling a lot more meaningful on the daily. And I'm trying to hone that skill literally through my morning routines, what I think about when I open my eyes to what I think about when I close my eyes on that day. And so as a result of it, overall, I'm at a general 8.5. Wow. Yeah. I mean, and look, there are days, obviously there are days when it's like, you're waking up at a 3. Where's the rest of the 5? I need it. But as we sit here right now, I'm at an 8.5, feeling very grateful, very blessed with life as it is. And I think most importantly, what I am giving to life versus what I am seeking from it or what life is giving me.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
This is why you're the philosopher.
My gosh.
wow,
Like, wow. And then I always have to follow that. And lately it's been so interesting because I'm always the one that's coming in with the lowest score, right? So I guess the doctor might as well answer.
Yeah,
right?
how are you, Dr. G?
How are you?
I'm a solid 5. I
Yeah?
am halfway.
Okay.
You know, I obviously hinted at our last conversation about dealing with burnout. And oftentimes what happens with the journey of burnout is there's a period of depression. So navigating a reactive depression triggered by a series of stressful events. Reactive depression, just to educate the pluggers, is a type of depression that is self-limiting because it is brought on by either an event, so something specifically traumatic, often tied to loss or divorce and change of life. But as you navigate it through therapy and self-care, it doesn't last or change into the more clinical, as we call it, clinical depression. So it's going well in therapy. I'm releasing things. I'm navigating the changes that have happened. Very grateful. I think entrepreneurs, can I just say this again? And all entrepreneurs should have a therapist. I think.
In fact, everyone. Just
Everyone.
if you can.
I'm sorry,
where
not
you
to
can.
me. I didn't mean to isolate, but I think the type of work, when you look at what the pandemic has done to so many business owners, the stories I've had to listen to while I'm navigating my hardships has incredibly challenged me mentally. To hear of people losing their life's work, to hear of people losing houses. I thought that I had it bad, but the more entrepreneurs I speak to, I just go home and I'm at the point where I'm like, this economy is stretching us more than it has in many, many years. And so my focus right now is the kind of content that I am inspired to keep doing is content that allows people to feel like they can recharge, they can rebuild, they can recover. And I think we couldn't have chosen a more meaningful episode. It's winter.
Yeah.
The emotions are very low during winter in general.
Exactly.
But there's an awareness that I've had to bring myself to that it's hard for everyone. And as much as it's so important for us to spread joy, what I'm more grateful for, what we do, especially here, is we have the uncomfortable conversations. And I think it's so important when you are dealing with a mental health condition that you're not only just sitting and thinking about it, that you're actively finding ways to look after yourself while you heal from it.
Yeah. And so I guess as we start the discussion and the topic of peace of mind, which is the overall theme of the episode, I guess it's important to find a definition of what do we call peace of mind? When you hear peace of mind, how do you define it? And for me, I think lately, which is why I find myself on the upward side of the scale, is peace of mind is made up of not just the mind itself, but it's not just a state of mind, it's a state of being holistically. So I'm talking about like, how do I feel physically, right?
That's it.
What do my fingers feel like? What do my feet feel like? What's running through my mind as I sit here, whether it may be in a temporary space of pause at work, or I'm driving the car, or I'm with my child. What is running through my mind, and what feelings does that trigger? So it's almost this trinity that flows. And for me, it's found in the moment, right? Let me explain this in a way that when I start my days, I tend to look at what the day looks like. And I have moments where I found literally the clouds just blow my mind with the way they look, the colors of like the orange and the purples and the blues. And I look at that, I go, this is so beautiful. And for me to be able to experience this in this moment where nothing is harming me, nothing is causing me grief, but I have this beauty to admire and to take in as if it is my own. And in that moment, I can find myself moving from that 3 that I woke up from to a 5, to a 6, just because I was present in the moment. So for me, from a definition point of view, the peace of mind that I think all of us seek so desperately is found in being present in this right moment, like now.
That's right.
There's lots of things that aren't going well in my life.
Yeah.
Correct.
But here I am, sitting with 2 of my sisters and being able to share in a life-building conversation that I know I'm going to eke and get so much from. And that makes me so, so happy.
Right.
And that results in that flow.
I love that. It sounds like you found the art of the pause and being anchored by the simplicity of everyday life. so that it anchors you, especially when life is being turbulent.
That's it.
And I think for me, where I've kind of found a way to center myself is understanding that life will be turbulent.
Correct.
But instead of seeking peace and seeking positivity, it's just being grounded in contentment. And it kind of also ties into how you view your day. That just you know what, everything is not great,
I love
but
it.
I'm content that I'm still here. I get to experience myself, the beauty of who I am and what has made me. I get to go through each day and like challenge myself and see how far I go in, sharing positivity with other people or impacting someone else's life or just trying to take care of myself, and just the ability to just wake up and say, even though I can't conquer the world the way that I know how to, I'm going to try and at least conquer my own little world and my own little vessel and at least feed myself, at least take care of myself, at least, drink some water. The simple things. Simple things.
I love
Because sometimes the turbulence can be so much that you can't get out of bed.
It's that first
And
step.
just
That
getting
first
out
step.
of bed, that first step, that contentment, that it's not great, but I'm happy with this person that I am. And the very little bit that I'm willing to achieve today. So for me, peace of mind has changed into just being content. Being content, not saying that I don't want to change the turbulence. I'm uncomfortable with it, but I'm choosing to sit with it because I know it'll pass. So what can I do to just conquer today and have maybe instead of a 3, a 5 or a 10?
Can I just jump in on that?
Wow.
Because you said something that for me just triggered a thought, and it's been a reoccurring theme through different parts of my past couple of months there. It's the choice.
That's
right?
it.
Like a lot of times when we are faced with challenges in life, we feel like life is literally just throwing stuff at us, shooting bullets at us, which it does, right?
Yes.
Life does that to everyone.
Correct.
But it's the choice, like for me, from a personal point of view, in choosing to walk towards that challenge, to walk towards that particular moment of conflict that I might have been scared of and not wanting to confront. So previously I was like, I'll cower in this corner and hope that it passes, to going, it's here. And I'm going to it. I'm making the choice that I am going to allow myself that moment of discomfort and live in it, because I know it'll pass. But if I try and act like it's not there, it's like that monster, right, in the corner. You look away and then you go, okay, it's quiet. And then you look, and then the monster's closer, and it's like, and then you look away.
It's the how did you get here again?
I can't hear it. Okay, we're safe. Everyone's like, now it's here.
Now
like,
it's
no.
in front of you.
Face it. Face it.
Oh,
And so
man.
it's the choice. I love that. So the choosing of where you want to be. And by that, I'm not saying it's easy.
No, it's
But it's certainly it's something worth cultivating in your life. And I use that word cultivation almost as if to paint the picture of a farmer cultivating his or her land, right? And taking that peaky. What's a peaky in English, guys?
Oh my God.
It's a book.
You're going to have to help us here, plug it.
Some might call it a hoe, where you
A pick.
Yeah,
I think it's a pick.
Whatever.
The Victorian in me likes to think it's a
That
pick.
massive
a
tool
pick.
that looks like a giant hammer. Anyway, think about that. A farmer looking across their
vast
specific
field.
piece of
Yeah.
land and
Yeah.
thinking, well, in a year's time, I'd like to have a crop that is flourishing that I can then take to the market and make
Man.
ends meet for my family. But the work has to start. You have to make the choice to take the pick and to start with the first shot. There's a huge piece of land, but someone's got to do it.
Exactly.
And no one's coming to do it for you.
Exactly.
So well said. Or, I mean, where do I go in adding to that definition? 3 things that I really appreciate that both of you have brought out, that peace of mind is. And I'm coming in here both from the clinical appreciation of what peace is, right? From a physical health and a mental health, and then just my overall personal impression. Peace, first and foremost, is an awareness, because it cannot happen without an awareness of self, an awareness of your environment, an awareness of energy. All of us move around this world with different standards, expectations of what life should be, could be. And what peace does is once you become truly aware of who you are, it becomes an intentional approach to your life. So when you have a beautiful self-awareness, there's a different way you respond to things that life throws at you. As human beings, part of cultivating a really, really stable journey of peace of mind is embracing the fact that part of your human experience is going to include hardship. And I feel part of what's been interesting with the younger generation, and a concern particularly for me, not just as a doctor, but just as an older sister, is watching younger people's response to adversity. What things can we share to give to someone out there who may not be of the same personality, but who may need it right now? So I think today's conversation is going to be very powerful, because I would classify the three of us as stable human beings.
I would certainly hope so.
And did you hear that tone?
That
I was
little
like,
bit.
stable.
There was a little brief pause moment,
there was a
are we
pause and
stable
a question
human
mark.
beings?
I was like,
Contemplate.
what,
Okay. Approved.
sips?
This is a Dr. G approved message. But I also classify the three of us as qualified to have this conversation with our pluggers, because internally we know each other really, really well. We know the experiences we've navigated, not just in our recent years, but we've shared parts of ourselves that I sincerely believe, even medically, qualifies this discussion to take strong root in the people listening to us. Because peace of mind isn't a pill,
Certainly not.
right? It's
Yeah.
not found in substances.
Mm-hmm.
Side eye. Although a lot of us have had to befriend some friends, and you're allowed to keep your friend to yourself. You don't have to post it in the comments. But there's a lot of life we have to cope with, guys.
Yeah.
So part of the first discussion of this wellnessology conversation is talking about factors that affect your sense of grounding in the world. When you're kind of feeling like the mhlaba is moving in the wrong direction of the equator. And yes, it wasn't meant to make sense.
I'm trying to place my mind geographically. What is the current location?
All right, back to the topic. In order to address how we can all learn to find stability in an unstable world, we've got to talk about the factors that impact our sense of stability. I didn't know. So one of the interesting things I wanted to throw at the table off the cuff in my bachelorette vavavoom life, I had no idea that power cuts would destabilize me the way they have. But now, and I think this is tied, by the way, to the actual career. I think now that work has picked up, we're busy developing something that's in technology. Sure. So the need to be online has increased. So I'm aware, the awareness, right? At least the awareness of the increase in my stress has been immediately attached to recognizing I now need to be online. And it's becoming inconvenient when you are having meetings with colleagues who are in different cities and their power cuts are happening on a different timeline than mine. Yeah. So I've noticed a new irritation that I've got. Like, I know you can't talk to electricity when it goes off, but I do.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Okay, no, listen, I do too, right?
What conversations have been sparked?
I'll tell you what mine is, Mr. Whoever is in charge of switching off my lights. Can you just skip, overlook, just oversight?
Could it not just be
you
one
know?
day?
And then some days it does work and I actually have electricity when I'm not supposed to. So I just sit there and I put it out in the universe. Although I do use stronger words, but I won't mention them.
Right? Okay.
So there was a predictability I realized I enjoyed about having a routine of how I ran my day, knowing there was always power.
Right.
And note, I keep not referring to it as electricity, power. Because I realized there has been an attachment subconsciously that I didn't recognize until the blackouts, right? That I associated electricity with being a fundamental part of being alive, right? So we need power, not just to cook, not just to, have our devices open and to be able to switch on lights, but that it's such an important energy source for how we operate as human beings when we are awake. And so my interesting thing has been learning how to detach from how important I view power to be in my life and try to operate in those moments when there's no electricity, try and still find the same level of productivity in me and it's working. But it's been a slow one.
What have you done?
Entrepreneurship.
Yeah, what have you
done?
So a couple of things that I've had to do. Firstly, I've had to really understand the thing called the schedule. I don't know how many of you have had to open several pages to figure out which one is the correct one. But
I'm on a WhatsApp group and they feed us updates all the time. So thanks for the
Nice.
shout out to the WhatsApp
Yeah.
groups that do the good work.
He doesn't even
Doing the
bring
Lord's
into
work.
The Capetonian WhatsApp
Ah,
groups.
it's area based. You must
It
be
is area-based, yeah.
local.
I have
It's
one
about
for my
which
street
suburb?
as well. And then we know
Okay.
we speak about like water cuts and
Anyone
power
in Sea
cuts.
Point, please throw a bone to
See
the
the
young
importance
doctor.
of building community. This is what we're
I
all about.
understand. I will stop being an introvert. Please put me in your WhatsApp group. And I am finding my way out of it. But I can tell you, I'm probably having 3 great productive days a week compared to 6.
But I like how you did that. What I've done with mine is I've swapped out, the moments where the power is off.
Yeah.
I try to give myself me time. So I'll pick up a book.
That's good.
I'll pick up a
That's
book
nice.
or I'll
Yeah.
relax or
Love
I'll
it.
rest or I'll go run a personal errand. But
Love it.
I've just used that moment because the thing is, I do need my laptop. I need all of that, but I don't want to have to do the bulk of like having to run around, find a coffee shop. And then you get that and the coffee shop is going through problems. And then now, so it's just like, no, actually I'll work when I do have power. And then when I don't have power, I'll just reconnect with myself.
Mine is a
Yeah.
very simple thing. The being a parent thing
Yes.
has taught me to be very adaptable to the moment, because one moment he wants ice cream, but the next moment it's a cupcake.
Yeah.
But then you said you wanted ice cream. No, but it's a cupcake now. So we were supposed to have power at 4:00, but now we don't.
Yeah.
And it's going to be off for the next 8 hours. Then we must just do.
Got it.
And
So
so
what
being
do you
adaptable,
do
being
when
adaptable.
that power is off?
I
Some
think
ideas.
it's similar to you.
Love it.
I have now kind of put into my mental bank at the back there
Okay.
that, I haven't practiced my guitar in some time. So there's no power now. Let me pick up my guitar.
Do anything to
and
listen
play
to a
some.
guitar
Do you know what I
during
mean?
that. Yeah.
Write some songs.
Tell me in the comments
perhaps a
if you
moment
wouldn't.
to. And you know what I've loved?
Yes.
In the very weirdest kind of way.
Okay.
Right? When that power goes off at like 6:00, hopefully by that time dinner time is done.
Yeah.
There's an absolute silence that echoes between the mountains. And I'm like, I can hear my thoughts. I can hear my breath.
Yeah.
And we don't get to experience that quite a lot. And I don't know how many people have taken the time to put themselves in a place of silence, because we're confronted with sound everywhere
day,
that stimulates
every day,
our
yeah.
brains.
Correct.
Our minds are
Correct.
always engaged. You hear a siren and you're already thinking, what is that? Is it an ambulance? Is it a police vehicle? Is it a fire truck? Then you look in that direction. Your eyes are stimulated by the stimulus that's coming into your eyes. And, mind is always switched on.
Yeah.
And now that we have these power cuts, I feel like there's a lot more time to pull yourself together, and a weird blessing in disguise.
I'm really glad that there's such a positive interpretation of this, because heads up, we're going to have it for several more years. So I think the sooner we start to adjust, because this is a type of adjustment, and it can, for a lot of people, trigger stressful responses. So 3 things. I'm curious just to get inside your heads a little bit. 3 things that you regard in your life when they happen or they occur outside, whether it's in your control or not, it gets that response of, ugh, I don't want to be dealing with this. What 3 things irk you? Come on. Before we get to the piece, we must get to what shokolozas you out of your piece.
Hlogoloza.
That is a very good book. 'Cause I'm pretty sure the list is long,
I just want 3, just for the pluggers to get a bit of an insight into your personalities.
The first thing that's top of mind for me is just waiting, because I'm an impatient person. It's just
Oh,
waiting.
really?
I just hide it very well.
Incredible.
Patient.
Okay.
Like waiting for a breakthrough, waiting for
Aha.
a coffee, waiting for electricity.
Okay.
Same. Same Z's.
Waiting for happier days. Just the art of
Okay.
waiting, because it demands It demands a lot out of you. It really does. So
Okay.
I would say waiting. Yo. Wow. I gotta dig deep.
I'll let's do like a little.
Yeah,
We can
bounce
maybe we
off.
can do
bounce off,
one
right?
also. All 3
that's
of us
yours,
can engage
mine
in it. Yeah.
is incompetence.
Define it for me, because different people.
And it takes place like in very many different scenarios, but where I would expect, and maybe therein lies the fault, but the expectation that someone, let's say, with whom you're working, someone with whom you're interacting, is supposed to know what to do in this moment. And they've had all of the tools and resources around them to equip them with that skill to execute. And then it doesn't happen, leading to a disappointment in the outcome. Yeah. That completely drains me. And I'll give you like an example.
Give me an example.
Very simple example.
Yeah.
You go to a retail store, right? Yeah. You see a pair of sneakers that you really like. Okay. And you ask the store assistant, do you have these in a size 9? I'm a size 9. Do you have these in a size 9?
I love the sharing.
And then they look at you like, I don't know.
I know, I've been there.
And then you're like, okay, I'm sorry for interrupting your day. I'll just head out that way. And you're like, no, but that was your job. This is, and for me, I guess because to a large extent, I take a lot of pride in what I do. And so I would like to see that reflected back. Hence the expectation. That's probably wrong from my point of view. I shouldn't. But it's incompetence. And obviously that can go through from something as simple as, let's say, ordering your coffee with no milk, and then it comes frothing with dairy, and now you're lactose intolerant, and like, I just really needed this coffee to be, just all the way through to you being the CEO of whatever company, and you know that you've had your conference meeting with all of your top level managers. These are the targets, and then that one manager there wasn't listening. They were, and then
well phrased. And I think those of you who want to be in Kat's life, just remember, love what you do, show up for it. My thing, interesting. My challenge is with entitlement. And entitlement is subtle. But I can tell you, I literally say this. Some of you might think it's a joke. It's not a joke. My entitlement will vusa my inner dlozi, and it will fight the source where it's coming from for dear life.
Your own entitlement?
No, entitlement.
In general. From the,
whether it's in a professional space. So I have a visceral reaction to being treated from a position of entitlement. And let me define what entitlement means from my point of view, because it's different to privilege. Yeah. And I know that it could get tricky in this topic if people immediately go to that place of, oh, you mean people who have more than you know. Entitlement's a different energy. So I'll give an example. You're minding your own business in a coffee shop. Okay. Working on your laptop, doing your thing.
I'm literally picturing this.
Right. Somebody decides to walk through the door, a stranger, comes to you and says, I'm sorry you're sitting in my chair. Okay. Does that ring a very obvious example of entitlement? Okay. Now, they calm Wusad Tsidi in a normal day would look up with a smile and go, I am so sorry. I don't believe there is a name on this chair.
Right. And that's what it begins.
But catch me on the not so Wusa day. And you're going to have yourself a very entertaining response. Interesting. I have recognized that I'm unable to always take the high road when I encounter entitlement. Sarcasm has made appearances. Sometimes it has not only ended in sarcastic exchanges, I will literally have to go and breathe myself down. So one thing I've learned when I need to cultivate peace of mind in the midst of entitlement is to first ask myself, will this bother me 3 hours from now?
Wow.
But there's an example.
That's a skill.
I cannot.
To be able to do that. Amazing.
It affects me even if it's from a human being I'll never meet again.
Right.
And I've had to respect that it does, because I usually would have thought it's people you constantly in touch with.
Yeah.
I just thought of my second egg.
Oh, yes.
I just thought about I was like, yes, how could I forget this one?
Let's go for it. What's your second thing?
Lack of communication.
Oh, I know that about you.
Wow. And you know what's so crazy?
Describe that.
What's so crazy for me is that let's say if someone isn't communicating, right, or there literally is like no contact or anything, that doesn't sit well with me. And what's funny is that instead of just owning up that, you know what, I don't enjoy it when someone does not communicate with me or isn't open or isn't like honest or whatever the case may be.
Okay.
But then in those moments, I'll sit there and say, but are you even a good communicator? But I sit there and I'm like,
you question yourself.
it makes me question myself because I'm like,
Yeah.
is how this person's lack of communication towards me a reflection of how I'm communicating with them? But I know that lack of communication, just like whether it's in a moment of, whether it's work, whether it's with family,
Right.
and especially when there's turbulence and
Right.
communication is required,
How have you learned to let the people in your life know that when that happens, it disturbs your sense of peace and grounding? How have you learned over time to communicate that? Because I can imagine sometimes people behave in a way and they're not aware that for you it's triggering a dysfunction, it's triggering a sense of dis-ease, right? How have you learned over time? Because it's hard, right?
It is. It's
how have
challenging.
you learned
It's
to
very
navigate
challenging.
that? Because people tend to take things, that kind of stuff, personally. How have you managed to kind of smooth the conversation with all your loved ones about, please talk? Because sometimes the argument, as you would also know, is like, we don't talk here in our family. Why do you always want to know if I'm okay? Why must I always say hello? Hello, how are you?
I think
How
I'm
do you deal
still
with
trying
that
to.
pushback?
I'm still trying to.
I think you have a face in mind. As I said, there's a relative that is popping up.
I'm still trying to navigate it
Right.
because I think it has a different phase depending on which area of your life you're focusing on.
Okay.
Obviously, if it's familial, if there's a lack of communication, it goes deeper. There are deeper roots. It's in how you were raised. That it's not necessarily very easy to change that because you have to look into how does communication play a role in my dad's life and in his upbringing that
I like
contributed
that.
into. And then when you look at work, it's also work. It's how are the relationships built?
Okay.
What kind of face does the lack of communication has in that situation? It's different.
So you kind of take it person by person.
I take it
and you have
person
a
by
style
person.
of kind of expressing yourself in how you would like to be
Exactly,
reached
and this
out to
expectation,
with people one-on-one. I so appreciate your second point of lack of communication because I've only grown up in a household that does totally push for communication, even when you don't feel like it. Right?
Which is amazing.
And I do think that we're all different in that sphere, but I love your honesty on how because you've learned to appreciate that you need it. It's a way of you almost having proof of life from another human, like,
yes.
communicate.
That's it. I think it just gives me a peace of mind. Like, where are you? What's happening? Like,
Okay.
Because when I sit there, I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do if you are not speaking to me, or if you're not opening up. Because especially if it's in like a
that's a big
situation
one.
where,
That is a
like,
big one.
let's say I need to assist you with something,
Okay.
and I'm like, okay, I'm here.
Yeah.
How can I help you?
So it almost feels disempowering for you when there's a long period of people that you deem are very close in your life when they don't communicate, because it almost leaves you not knowing, not just how they are, but you then don't even know if there are things that they may have needed and you could have offered them to. Okay.
Yeah.
I see how you receive it. So what a big one.
Yeah.
I think
Yo,
I
Kat,
literally-
what's your
I
number
just
two?
went down that same rabbit hole right now because, but like where for me it's
Yeah.
and it's actually manifested itself in recent times, right?
Okay.
Where I've had to confront myself on
Okay.
what are my attachment styles to people, to relationships, whether it be with family, with friends, with even like romantically, whatever.
Okay.
Just in general, how do I find my position or my place in someone else's life whom I see as significant, right? And like I said, family, friends, whatever the relationship is. And I've had to ask myself, and quite strangely, I've been reading this book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving, right? Yeah, we won't say that, but you know what it is.
Love it.
And basically talks about the fact that we only have so many F-bombs to give in life, and so you should give them sparingly, right? So I've had to go back into my own structures and rewire. It talks in this very one chapter about the values we hold and the metrics we use to measure those values.
That's
and
right.
one example, let's say from a family point of view, you might view the quality of a familial relationship based on the metric of the frequency of contact with a particular family member. And that when you don't have a high enough frequency, it diminishes the quality. And you go, well, are me and my brother or sister, are we still good? Because we don't talk as often. Are we still good? Right? And then you go, maybe for me, maybe I have an unhealthy, let me call it that, because I don't have the vocabulary for it right now, but like an unhealthy way of having attached myself to this person, and I need to maybe step back. And if they are going through a phase and a time in their life, allow it to be. Hoping for the best, but allowing it to just be.
Got it.
And then continuing on with life, because people are gonna life.
That is interesting.
And life is gonna life.
And life is gonna keep lifing, all of us.
And you need to find a way. And even in the most desperate of circumstances where you feel like you need to be the one who's reaching out in order to help or fix some kind of situation, get the mask on yourself first, right? In the airplane analogy. Put the mask on yourself first and make sure that you are okay.
Man.
Before, hey, are we, what's happening? Okay, because I'm not sure if I'm stable at the moment. It's a lot. It's a lot. And then, so it's a lot happening right now. I can't breathe. Breathe.
You gotta breathe first.
Things happen, man. So that's my own rabbit hole right now.
and you know the purpose and you know the purpose of me throwing the question back at us on what are the factors that affect balance is it indirectly starts to make you evaluate how you operate within your world. Which is ultimately the extent of your peace of mind. It's not restricted to who you are when you're by yourself. It's who you are in relationship to others.
And then the other layer that I wanted to, because I'm busy cultivating this new dimension of my thinking, and because I think as an artist, I'm an emotional person. I attach feelings. It's how I express myself through. So I go. The initial response was, well, then if I have to be that way and be detached and be like mask on my own face, then I'm going to completely turn my back and go that way. And I'm like, no, you don't have to do that, right? Because there is a moment and a place to detach lovingly. And
the bridge.
That's important, right? To go, I'm going to step away from this because right now, it's suffocating me or I'm not able to function. But understand that I'm stepping away in a loving manner to allow you to do what you need to do and to allow me to do what I need to do. And if by some chance there is an opportunity to regather, regroup the things we lost in the fire, then we do that at the time when that is appropriate, right? No,
I was like, but wait, how do you assess when you're doing the detaching lovingly? Do you communicate that
you're detached?
That's
the question I also have. This is gonna be a hard one, but we've got to ask it.
Remember, it's this thing. You might be looking at it in that, you know what, I spot turbulence in this person's life or whatever may be the case, and there's a bit of distance. So I'm going to detach lovingly to give them space or afford them that space to deal with that thing. But do you communicate that that's the action you're taking? Because how you choose to act, that other person is going to perceive it differently. So how do you ensure that there's clarity between the two of you of what is happening, that we're walking away from the bridge just to Wusa, and then we're going to come back to the bridge?
I think it is dependent on each and every situation and how that detachment then needs to happen, right? Because if you're in a position where the other person detached from you a long time ago, or maybe even recently, but they are the non-communicative type,
right?
Perhaps there is then no need to expressly say, I am henceforth detaching, right?
Can you imagine that in the WhatsApp? I am henceforth.
Due to the current circumstances within the discourse of our relationship, I am henceforth detaching. No, but sometimes it can be kind of, left with a little, listen, I hope that you're well.
You're right.
And know that I am always here if you need to talk. I love you. I care about you. Have a lovely day. And that could be the last message that then sits in that
Yeah.
blue ticked WhatsApp conversation. Or last scene at 10:30. Oh no. Don't you judge me.
Can I throw a span in the works of that last scene at 10:30, but still on the WhatsApp stories at midnight?
Yeah!
But anyways, over to you.
Do you know
as
what
you
I
were.
mean? And then you make peace, right? That
Right.
Yeah.
I have said
That's
what
the goal.
what I needed to say, and I have detached as lovingly as I could, and then really interrogate yourself.
Yeah.
And
That
honor the
you're not
decision
harboring. You're not harboring. Because if you are, then time to go even deeper.
Yeah.
Papa, go deeper.
And that's the difference between real peace and performative peace. So here's an interesting. Well, you know
Performative
the
peace.
minute it hits that 30-minute mark of that podcast, it just gets real deep.
Because that's real, hey?
Can I get an amen on performative
Amen.
peace?
Oh,
yeah.
Right. Can we stop a culture of performative peace? Now, here's what's important, because this is leading us to what belongs in the mental bank of peace. When we are talking about cultivating for every individual a sense of anchoring and stability in their lives, what do we mean?
What I wanted to add on to that is
Yeah.
that I think a lot of people lean towards performative peace because part of finding peace is having to sit with yourself. And a lot of people are not willing to sit with themselves.
Why is that still hard is my question. I may sound incredibly judgmental as a 40-year-old, but I would like to believe we live in a world where we're so exposed to different ways of self-discovery. Why are we still scared to face ourselves? That's my question.
Well, for one, and this, I thought about it because I heard it and read it in the book as well.
Right.
Confronting your thoughts, the ideas that you hold and the values that you hold about what makes life what it is, right? What you've grounded
For
yourself
you.
in.
Yes.
A lot of that stuff we've gotten from other people and we have accepted from other people. We never really crafted it ourselves, right? So when we start going deeper in the levels to ask the why, and we get to like that third level why, and you go, I actually don't know. So then if I don't know, then why am I pursuing this value? And if I'm pursuing it in a fake it till you make it kind of thing, does that mean my entire life really has no meaning? And a lot of people, I think, can't face that about themselves, being wrong about themselves. Because
being alone. And
Yeah.
not being part of the community of people who hold
moving
on
in
to this
certain
value.
ways.
yes,
Okay.
because that's the statue you've been building right now. And the statue's made of glass. And if you throw a rock at it to question it, and it's not solid enough and it breaks, then who are you?
Exactly.
So when your journey of self-discovery threatens to disrupt your idea of belonging,
Yes.
that's when the fears start to pounce.
And it's
Oh,
easier.
man.
It's easier
try
and
and
might
stay.
feel safer to go,
Yes.
no, it's fine. I've been doing fine. I'm
Yeah.
okay. I don't
I can
need
stay
to.
this
I can
person
stay this
because-
person.
The other person I might discover may never ever feel like they can now
Yeah.
reconnect.
Yeah.
With the rest.
Because all my friends are doing it and we've been doing it for so long. And if I don't do it anymore, are all my friends still going to want to hang out with me if I don't do it anymore? And if they don't want to hang out with me, then who do I hang out with? Am I going to be okay just hanging out by myself? And am I possibly never going to find the tribe to belong to?
Here's the beauty about facing yourself and really facing yourself. The depth of what you discover will 9 times out of 10 always lead to a deeper appreciation of yourself. So when it's really scary because you're feeling like now you don't know, now you're feeling like you don't know what's happening, lean into that, because that's really where I can guarantee you, even as a scientist, the answers actually of who you are lie in that vortex. Most of us jump out of it and we use crutches the minute we step into this space is uncomfortable. This space is uncomfortable. So many of us quickly want to find the comfort again. I'm encouraging the opposite, because if you're lucky enough, and this is the difference, to also have a support network of people who've already walked this part of the journey, they will reassure you as well that you get to the other side. The interesting thing about peace of mind is you have to walk through
Yes.
You have to walk through discovering yourself. You have to walk through the understanding of pain. You have to walk through grief. You have to walk through the things that you often want to resist discovering, because it's our natural inclination as human beings to prefer pleasure and not pain, to prefer comfort over discomfort. But we never fully know our full selves without also exploring the uncomfortable.
This is true. I wanted to say also in simpler terms.
Yeah.
If you're afraid of walking alone on the
plank.
On the plank. Just remember there's like 7-8 billion people. You'll never be alone. There's so many people. You'll find your tribe.
of them walking
You
the
will
plank
find
with you.
your tribe. Don't worry.
As a wellness doctor, I have to sit and listen many, many times to people who are not at peace physically, mentally, and emotionally, and kind of give them a roadmap and a prescription, right? And when your peace is disturbed, it can manifest itself physically. The first edition of Finding Peace is about leaving you with what the experience of peace is, where perhaps in our lives we feel challenged. Now I want to give you a concept that you can carry. If you encountering this topic for the first time and you're trying to pull it together to your brain that's currently going, life yakho man. These guys are talking about a place that sounds like utopia, nirvana, this garden of peace. Ngicela nami garden. Here's your garden tricks.
Or at least the seeds.
The seeds. Dr. G was coming
Plant
through with
yourself.
the seeds. So I came up with a concept that has tended to work with a lot of my executives that I'm going to share with all of you pluggers today. It's called the mental bank. If you want to be able to build a way in which you navigate this conversation of resilience, peace, wusa, balance, stability, all of those big terms that we talk about, first appreciate the why. Sounds cheesy, but it's important. Every time when we wake up on this planet, there's something that inspiring us to keep going. Connect with that first. So I decided to call that inspiration tank the bank. Because cultivating peace should feel like coming to a home that has got different things that afford you energy and inspiration and calm, there are certain things you need to appreciate about the bank mentality. So we've all experienced life with specific banks. I'm not going to throw us under the bus here where we declare our loyalties.
No.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay.
All I'm saying is I'm with the best.
I mean, they all say they're the best.
I
no?
know.
Larry coming through with the facts.
I'm just saying there are some that are better than the rest. Okay.
Andizi.
Outside of the Andizi conversation, the bank, when it comes to peace of mind, is this basically. It is the space in your life that houses your beliefs, your values, your practices. You cannot manufacture a peaceful existence. You have to build certain things within your daily life to get you to a place where how you then respond to turbulence changes. So let's discuss this particular concept. So in a bank, right, you walk in, and when it comes to handling your own bank account, what are the factors that all of us are familiar with? A bank account has deposits. Bank account has a withdrawal. Bank accounts can have credit. Bank accounts can also have debt.
Overdraft.
Yes, see? We are getting to the part that people don't want to talk about. Here's what's important from the wellness side. You, as the operating element of peace of mind, the person who needs the peace of mind in this conversation, are not just the client in this conversation. You're the banker. So the first shift in understanding peace of mind is knowing that you have the most power to change how you respond to your life. So you're the banker, because some of us have bankers, private bankers, business bankers, people whose job it is to look after the bank account. With peace of mind, we are our own bankers. Yeah. So first step is appreciating that the responsibility is yours. What kind of life do I want to have? one of the most important questions, because that, from an analogy of the bank, is what kind of bank account do I want to have? If you want to have a bank account that's always in the red, then you will allow drama in your life more than you should. You will allow dysfunction in your life more than you should. And you will allow toxicity in your life more than you should. But when you know that a behavior, a habit, a communication is harming you at a level of not being able to function properly as a human being, you need to know that 100% is going into the liability credit overdraft tank. Limit the negative balance. Where most human beings struggle and hide is in saying, if something toxic comes to my door, what is my response? Where we tend to go is something toxic comes to our door and we go, let me see how toxic it is. And then when it's really bad, I'll have a response. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There are things we can still control. Learning to recognize what feels toxic, what feels harmful, what feels dysfunctional is one of the best ways you can protect your bank account.
Is that like the notifications you get on your phone?
Thank you very much.
When there's a transaction. Tweet, tweet. Hey, there's been a withdrawal of 89 Rand 99 cents from ETFC Credit. Hey, what is this? I didn't authorize this. Please pull that debit back into my
And
account.
this is why I love this particular example, because many of us are aware of the notification. And we are not notifying the bank that this debit order is no longer appropriate. So most of us will see the notification and go, I know this hurts. I know this shouldn't be here. But we wait until next month again and it comes again. How about maybe you start to save yourself from those notifications? The other part of the equation is the fun part. How do you build the peace? How do you build the bank of things that keep you grounded and stable and anchored? You've mentioned so many amazing practices that you both do for yourselves. And it is an instantaneous thing for you guys. But for a lot of people, peace is not a conscious conversation for them. So very important things to talk about first are routines. There is a way you can still your mind to get going for the day and be able to approach your life in a calmer, steadier, more resilient way. I obviously know you guys well enough to know there's things you enjoy doing, and I know the impact it has had on your sense of peace. Most people aren't aware that they already are doing some of these things, but let's highlight them a little bit. Taking yourself on a walk sounds incredibly simple. But when I ask people, how do you feel after that walk on the promenade? 9 times out of 10, or a hike up the hill, or just a stroll in the middle of the afternoon, 9 times out of 10, I can guarantee you they'll always say, I feel so much calmer, so much better, so much lighter. There is a reason that our nature and our way of being is cultivated for movement to be a powerful antidote to stress. And it all starts with the fact that the minute you focus on that particular exercise, your entire body that has been in a high stressful mode starts to calm down. It's what we call a stress dump. So a very good hack that I can teach pluggers: you're having a stressful life right now. You can't afford fancy things like retreats and massages. Go for a 30-minute walk. That is a deposit that you can rely on every single day. And let me tell you, by week 2, you'll be the one writing to me telling me, I don't believe in this thing, but it works. It doesn't.
It does walk.
It
and
walks
work.
and it works.
It works and
You know
works.
what I love about you? Only you can remember the me in the me. When I get into my, what is that word? We have it in the dictionary, Afro-juicy.
Oh my days! It was in one. Yeah, you did.
It's words I tend to create or muddle up on purpose.
And for me, why I've loved taking walks is that it's given me an opportunity to, as crazy as it may sound, have conversations with myself and build a steady characteristic of being self-reliant. And that has, I think for me, has been a huge win for my own mental and peace of mind. Self-reliance. Because all those seeds that you're going to plant in the garden
Right.
have to be planted in fertile soil
That's it.
Yeah.
where underneath there's already nutrients that are going to help that seed to grow. And that's
incredible.
Those nutrients for me are self-reliance.
Incredible.
Starts with you.
And the starts with you includes how you treat yourself, which is why the mental bank cannot exist without the deposits of the rest, the walks, the nourishment. We've talked about the physical nourishment. Another very important deposit is the support system. Most of us don't actually recognize that the people we allow in our lives within our most intimate spaces are actively a support system. And you can have a positive support system and a negative support system.
Yeah.
There is a difference between the buddies we go out drinking with, right? Who can be the same buddies that we tell our innermost secrets to. But not everybody has the same kind of support system. Be very, very, very honest with yourself when you have the time to do this exercise. Audit your support system. Sit down and say, what influence do I currently have in my life? Note, I didn't say what people do I currently have in my life, because we tend to personalize this sometimes as a way of running away from our own accountability of what we choose for ourselves. It's easy to blame, my ex was amazing in the beginning and then he just became a different person. I'm like, interesting. So what's beautiful about the support system audits is it allows you to actually see people and your environment for what it is rather than what you're wishing it to be. And you get more honest with yourself in what you keep and what you need to say goodbye to. It is hard to let go of anything that you love, including anyone that you love. But sometimes at different stages in our life, as we keep growing, we recognize that the things we need are no longer the things that other people need. This audit is probably the most influential in your bank account. And most people don't want to do the audit because they are scared of the letting go. Get comfortable with doing the audit of your support system, because when you're in real need, these are the people you actually rely on to keep your bank stable. These are the people that add the biggest value to the bank account. You yourself are 50% of that bank account. Your support system, including things and people, are the second.
I think just to kind of re-emphasize that awareness, because for me, the whole theme of finding peace has been rooted in the awareness of it, right? And to relate it back to the bank account thing that we're talking about, the awareness of how things make you feel and how you then react to it. Not just letting things slide, because you let things slide and then they slide down into that dark hole and they start building up, and by the time you become aware, they have grown to proportions that you might not be able to handle at that time. Be aware of the things that require and take your energy, and be aware of how you choose to respond to them, given everything that we've discussed.
So well said.
Do you feel like your bank account is rich now? Is the balance looking good?
It's looking really good. It's looking really good. I just need rest. That's it. I need to add some rest into it.
If there's anything you take away from Voice from Within, rest is best.
Rest is best.
And this brings us to a beautiful closure of finding peace. And we hope that this conversation has inspired you to look within, to look really, 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 really honestly and deeply within. And we hope on this journey of listening to us that you have a good time being with yourself. I think I like to always encourage that you see it as a positive thing to spend time with yourself. Get to know yourself, get to ask yourself these questions. And I'm telling you, 1 foot at a time, 1 day at a time, you will start to feel like the tree hugger that you see in those retreats, and you never understand why they're always so happy. Why they're always so happy. Come join us. There's just so much that we do when we don't see each other. So a segment I've been really excited to talk about is what we think about. One thing I really, 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 really loved is the reaction to a very popular, incredible series that is run by none other than Shonda Rhimes. And her latest installment, Queen Charlotte. The artistic representation of what love looks like with someone who has mental illness. I don't know how you guys, firstly, I don't know how much of it you've watched, but I can tell you, firstly, brilliant casting, brilliant acting, brilliant costume design, brilliant storytelling. If you haven't, what I think about Queen Charlotte is that it's the best thing that has hit television in the last 3 years. Not from a production, from a narrative. Its depiction of mental illness in King George's, mental state and the beauty of this woman. Its intention to address racism in respectful, dramatic, and creative ways, rather than just always this victim versus perpetrator, was refreshing. I love the expression of art in the entire series. But come on, I've also just got to give it up for the fact that it was really great to see Black aristocrats, okay?
In the ton.
That's what I'm thinking about. Is
Lady
Queen
Danbury.
Charlotte, Bridgerton, world-class television. You've got to check it out.
Shout out to the cast.
If you haven't watched it, I don't know what you've been doing, okay?
George, I will love you. I will stand with you between the heavens and the earth and tell you where you are. Do you love me? Diniki Mali. Oh, geez, that's finished me.
And that is our interpretation. Sean, what has been on your mind? What have you guys been thinking about?
I was completely obsessed with that. I think I actually dropped a couple of young tears there in that, especially in that part, right? I guess in as much as we talk about self-reliance, which is an amazing aspect of the human endeavor in life, is that, community is also important. Attachment and relationship to people is so important, and how with the right kind of support, you can climb to the heights of what your potential is. And, looking at that story, if you'd watched Bridgerton before, you might have seen a few glimpses of King George here.
George,
and they'd be like,
right.
who is this mad king? And then you go to the backstory with Queen Charlotte to understand how they got to that place. And it's, I don't know, for the romantic heart in me, that was an absolute beautiful depiction of what it looks like to have somebody who will, like the ride or die.
It is.
That's the ride or die.
Or die. Right.
Let's be under the bed. And
don't start.
Hey, spoiler. But like whatever you need, I got you. Let's go.
The definition of I got you.
That's really cool. But it also reminds me of, what's that series? The series that had us all crying. It has Zoe Saldana.
What?
The restaurateur and
yes.
come on.
Where she goes to Italy.
Yeah.
From scratch?
From scratch.
Is it called From Scratch?
It's called From
Brilliant.
Scratch.
That was good.
Another one to check out. Right? We're recommending that?
Yeah. Please watch. If you haven't, I don't know why you haven't, but please watch From Scratch. But I love how romantic movies are also taking a turn.
Right.
And are becoming a bit more creative in telling really deep stories, like From Scratch and Bridgerton.
Right.
Queen Charlotte, I'm saying that like I
it's okay. We are bringing her into the kingdom. Don't you worry, you Bridgertons.
But just I love how it challenges our current generation's narrative about love.
Yep.
And
the expression of it.
And just it breaks down the fact that you can't live in the fantasy that your love story will just be a romance every day. It will be the honeymoon phase every day. It's not. I love how they're stringing or bringing in reality and turbulence and just let's be honest, it's not going to be pretty. It never is.
Yeah.
Life in itself is difficult. So for you to have this expectation in love, for it to be heavenly,
yes,
it doesn't make sense. It's an imbalance.
But also that devotion is a decision.
Exactly.
Oh.
And that you have a choice. The choice.
What are you talking about? Devotion is a decision.
Yes.
Wow.
That you don't have to wait to be chosen. You can do the choosing for you. But at least the same way you move in life,
Yeah.
rooted in the reality that there's a balance of good and bad.
Right.
See it in that way when it comes to love. Like, it can't be,
Agreed.
a joyride, anaconda there at the top, and you're going wee, and it's fun.
Our creative director is in studio. He's been giving us eyes all day, and we love it.
You know what I mean? Like, there's turbulence. It gets tough,
right.
but I think if you've chosen someone and those reasons stand, whether it's good or not, remember those choices.
Ooh.
Like, those choices, they mean something.
Man, what's been buzzing up in your world, Kat?
I'm thinking now.
We're in the mix here.
It's a bit of an off-ramp one, but
Yeah.
I guess more in tune with the industry that I work in.
Okay.
And I think of just young people that are taking the reins to drive the industry to the level of excellence and professionalism that I think we as South Africans and as a continent
Love
are
that.
worthy of, right?
Yes.
We've got people like Anelem Dota that is now executive producing The Masked Singer,
Wow.
right? With an incredible cast of detectives on the show and a host in pop-ups
Looking
that are
forward to
bringing us
that.
world-class entertainment. And even in what we do, I mean, on Deal or No Deal, the team
Yes.
that I work with
Come on,
are
shout out to Deal or No
absolutely world-class. And we found a way to marry the world of entertaining people,
Yes.
but also changing people's
Changing
lives in a
lives.
significant kind of way. And I'm
Absolutely.
inspired by that. And I'm hoping that that kind of lights a fire in so many people's lives to go, I can find a way in which I can elevate my community, my country, our continent to
man.
the heights of what I believe we are worthy of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. But we also want to hear from you, pluggers, and this has been a really, really beautiful, long Wusa episode. What we are curious to hear from you, and drop it in our comments on this YouTube channel, as well as obviously follow us on Instagram at @thewellnessplug_. What 3 things are you going to do to build your peace garden? That is the question that we look forward to in future episodes featuring. So tell us what 3 things from this beautiful discussion that you've taken home. What 3 things are you going to start changing for yourself? Because this is the piece of yourself, for yourself. One of the
This is like back when we're like, where is the location? Where is the location?
Sometimes what I don't tell my siblings over here is that I channel an inner uncle from my township. And I'm so glad he comes out now and again to say hello.
Is it those uncles that go, chief, you must listen. Yeah.
Exactly.
In the current circumstance.
Comrade, right now the peace we are cultivating is the peace for yourself.
Yeah.
And on that
Cheers.
note, we are the Wellness Plug podcast team. It is incredibly, incredibly humbling to be able to do this with you guys, especially as a limited edition podcast. We hope that you enjoy these episodes. We would like to obviously direct you properly to all the channels that you need to find us on. You can catch us right here on YouTube. We're obviously also available as an audio podcast on the Spotify, Apple, Google, and Ionos of this world. But please make sure that you'll always come back to look at our content, to listen to the quality conversations that we have, because this season is still going to bring some interesting new faces. We've got some bold public personalities joining us on the Wellness Couch, and we're really excited. So as we wrap up this first part of season 2, it's so important to acknowledge how beautiful we all look. Come on.
What do you think?
You need to check out our page to find out, because we have a special relationship with an incredible wellness label we are proud to introduce as part of our season. We'd like to thank Bonolo and Mandele from J for these incredible looks that we'll be rocking. And trust me, you're going to want a piece of that. So all the details of the beautiful things that you're going to see in the next couple of episodes, follow us on Instagram at The Wellness Plug for more. We're still going to be bringing the dancing, and the next episode is going to be something you want to definitely listen to, because what is the beauty of Africa?
All this chocolate coming to you soon.
Till then, bye.